Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome. With all my heart, I welcome you to this evening's program, our Thursday night meditation program for Anam Cara. And just my deep pleasure and honor to have you join us this evening. And tonight, as you know, this is the last Thursday of the month, so this in the cycle of programs we do is the night when we get into the Heart Sutra, both as a practice and as a study for understanding this foundational wisdom that comes from Buddha himself. And so understanding that and looking at that and even looking at some other related texts, that's what we'll be doing this evening. And as we always do, we'll be starting shortly with the opening mantras. And the opening mantras are a way to really invoke that highest nature of who and what we are. So mantra and the sound of that throb of the infinite that takes the form of mantra is really a foundational practice across many traditions, because that sound, that vibration, being able to chant, being able to use that silently within, is a way of being able to both calm the mind, relax the body, and then free consciousness from being just stuck within the mind, stuck with all the thoughts, concerns, everything of this day, this week, or whatever. So when we do the opening mantras, it's a way to help usher the week and the day out of our consciousness for a bit and be able to step back and come really into this present moment. And coming into the moment, that's where we can experience the fullness, the presence, the living presence of our highest nature, the divine within, that's within and the same for everybody and everything. So that's the ultimate aim of the different practices, is to be able to inform our ordinary mind, our ordinary consciousness, with that really sublime understanding, sense, feeling, direct experience of the boundless nature of the infinite, of the divine within. And with that, the boundless love, the boundless compassion, the wisdom that we can then bring into the world and inform our everyday life with that. So the opening mantras and the various practices that we do here, and really all the practices that come out of the yogic tradition, the Buddhist tradition, and other spiritual traditions, really can be looked at as aimed at how do we transform the mind so it's already present, that divine nature we begin to access directly, experience fully, have it inform our lives. So we'll be starting with the opening mantras, and the mantras are both a way of invoking, one set, the first set is what are known as the Ganesh mantras. And Ganesh is this delightful archetypal figure that really symbolizes the ability of our infinite nature to remove obstacles, and to do it often in a playful way or be able to step aside from them. So the Ganesh mantras are a way of invoking the power of consciousness to dissolve obstacles, to go around them, over them, under, through them, whatever might be required. That power is innate to who and what we are. So calling on that power that's beyond the mind might get stuck in some fashion, but this higher consciousness doesn't. So the mantras help to invoke that. And then the other mantras that come after that, the Om Purnamada Purnamidam, that's invoking our nature as just the boundless infinite, beyond form, beyond everything, but inclusive of everything as well. Because it's an invocation that's saying, from the infinite comes the infinite, and the infinite remains. So from the infinite, the boundless transcendence, comes the infinite forms of all our life, all of creation, all of things running through our mind, and yet that pristine, pure, boundless nature of the infinite remains intact. Simultaneously, all is present. So we start with these mantras, and then we just sit for a moment just to enjoy the stillness that arises from the power of mantra, because it's in that stillness where we can come home to our own self. So here we'll begin. Shri Mata Kali Devi Ki Jaya Gajananam Bhuta Ganari Shatakam Shokam Vinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwara Parapankajam Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamandaya Purnamevavashishate Om Shanti 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 Shri Mata Kali Mahadevi Ki Jai. Namaste. Good evening and welcome once again. So this evening, as I was saying, we'll be getting into the Heart Sutra and really studying it as a way of understanding what our nature is. You know, these sublime texts, they can sometimes have a very technical component to them, and if you want to get into more of the technical aspects of the Heart Sutra, there are many texts written about it. And in fact, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has written a wonderful commentary and explanation on the Heart Sutra, as has Thich Nhat Hanh and many other sages of the Buddhist tradition across centuries. So there's a vast literature on the Heart Sutra that one can delve into. You know, when Buddha was practicing, what was dominant at that time was yoga and Advaita Vedanta. And Advaita Vedanta, as you might recall from a couple of weeks ago when I was doing a reading from Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who was a modern-day saint in that tradition, lived in the late 1800s. And so it's a non-dualist Vedantic tradition. And it was really part of what Buddha studied. So when Buddha was practicing, there wasn't Buddhism. There was yoga, and there was Advaita Vedanta. And so his studies and practices, you can see, are informed by that. And so when we look at some of the texts that go back to that time as well, there's an ancient text that's known as the Ashtavakra Samhita. And you might recall, or if you've read any of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's works, he will refer to the Ashtavakra Samhita because it's a non-dual Advaita Vedanta kind of text. And there's an interesting story behind it because Ashtavakra, the name Ashtavakra actually is the name of a great sage. And Ashtavakra means bent in 8 places. So he was somebody who was born with certain congenital kind of maladies, and he was often sort of disregarded because of that. Yet he was an extraordinarily enlightened being. And in fact, later on, as he grew into a young man, there was a contest that was being done in the court of the great king at that time. And it was around who could explain the highest teachings. And the king was King Janaka. Now, King Janaka's name and Ashtavakra's name comes up in really ancient Upanishads, in the Mahabharata. It's the source of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is a story and a text that goes back perhaps thousands of years. And so Ashtavakra kind of makes his way into the court of King Janaka, and he's laughed at because of his condition. And he immediately says, oh, king, I thought you were so wise. Are you confused by just the sight of a form that doesn't, conform with your ideas of what should be? And so he was immediately able to put the king on the spot and back him down. And then the king said, so let me ask you some questions. Now there was another component to what was going on. Ashtavakra's father had also tried several years earlier to be at the king's court and answer these questions and debate with this particular teacher that the king had been studying with. And the father of Ashtavakra lost the debate and was sent away and hadn't been seen since. And so part of what Ashtavakra was also trying to do was to win the freedom of his father back and to bring him back. And Ashtavakra knew he was immersed in the highest. He was immersed in that consciousness that sees the divine at all times, in all places, that rests in that unity consciousness. So when Ashtavakra is asked by King Janaka, who says, well, how can knowledge of the infinite be acquired? How can liberation be attained? And how is renunciation, freedom from attachment to things gained? Please tell me this. And Ashtavakra replies, well, my child, if you aspire after liberation, shun the objects of senses as if they were poison. Seek forgiveness, sincerity, kindness, contentment, and truth as nectar. And so immediately, though Ashtavakra is a young man, he's an old soul, and he addresses the king as, "O child." And then he goes on to say, and here's where he really starts to give the teachings on what the nature of the non-dual awareness is. And that teaching he goes into, he says, you are neither earth nor water, nor fire nor air nor ether. In order to attain liberation, know the self as the witness of all these, as consciousness, pure consciousness itself. He says, if you detach yourself from the body and rest in that pure consciousness, and by detaching from the body, he means to disidentify. We're so caught up with being identified with the body, the roles it plays, the things we're doing. And so that's part of what is going on. So Ashtavakra is teaching King Janaka, and he's saying, if you detach, if you let go of that identification with the body and rest in pure consciousness, you will once again be happy, peaceful, and free from bondage. Now, the happiness that Ashtavakra is talking about, and it's spoken of in Vedanta, in the Buddhist literature, in Hinduism, Ananda, that happiness, that blissful, ecstatic, rapturous state, that's uncaused. That's not because, I satisfied a desire and now I'm happy, and it's transient. No, they're talking about coming to rest in the pure experience of that rapturous state of boundless awareness. So it's an uncaused, unalloyed, joyous state that's really beyond words, beyond the mind. So if we want even real happiness, lasting happiness, happiness that isn't based on ephemeral conditions, then we go inside. We touch into that space and have access to that in any time, in any place. I can hardly think of a more radical direction to go in sort of dealing with a consumption society, right? Where all that comes across is we're being told, you'll be happy if you buy this, you'll be happier if you own this, you really don't have much, so you're going to be much happier if you get this or go here. This is radical freedom. This is the freedom that says, no, I am in the fullness of that boundless being. And I don't have to have all these externals. So it's really aimed at making one completely free of bondage. And that's why Ashtavakra says, be happy, peaceful, and free of bondage. Because what agitates the mind? A sense of lack, a sense of want, a sense of need. And so in this tradition, these are all seen as those issues and that suffering coming out of ignorance of not knowing our true nature. When we come home to that, we have the fullness of being, and then our life can be an expression of that. How do we walk that into the world? How do we treat others and see others in the fullness of their being? And also see that when people are flailing about in their anger and their angst, it's out of ignorance. So it also engenders greater compassion for us to be able to look at others, no matter who they might be, and see that all that flailing about and the suffering they might be creating for themselves and others is coming out of this root ignorance. And if they could get beyond that in this life or another, they can get free and bring then the fullness of their loving, wise, compassionate, kind nature into the world. So the practitioner of these kinds of disciplines is all about knowing that for oneself and then helping other people remember that this is the truth of who you are. There's so many times when we can suddenly find ourselves happy for no external reason. That's because it just bubbled up from our true nature. And that's really what they're aiming at. And so Ashtavakra goes on. You don't belong to the Brahmana or any other caste, to the ashrama, any stage of life. You are not perceived by the eyes. Unattached, formless, and witness of all you are. So be happy, be joyous in that. Virtue and vice, pleasure and pain are of the mind, not of you. O all-pervading one, you are that. You are neither the doer nor the enjoyer. Your very nature is that of freedom. You are the seer and all that is completely free. So to be the seer, that's another critical point in these kinds of disciplines, because typically what it's looked at is we identify with what can be seen. You can see your thoughts. You can see your body. Those are the objects of perception. Who's the seer who sees that? Who's the real one who hears the sounds? We become identified with the content and lose our awareness of that pure, boundless being who perceives all and holds it all in a state of freedom. You are the one seer of all and ever free. Verily, this alone is your bondage, that you see the seer as other than such. By not knowing who the true seer is, what our true nature is, we get caught up in identification with all the things running through the mind. One who considers oneself free is free indeed, and one who considers oneself bound remains bound. As one thinks, so one becomes. That comes out of the Ashtavakra Samhita. That you hear echoed in the same words of Buddha saying, as you think, so you become. So watch your thoughts with care, Buddha said, and let them arise out of concern for all beings. As you think, so you become. So part of what we have to do is retrain the mind. That's why so many of the disciplines are aimed at retraining the mind. What have you become now? What are you identified with in this moment, in this very moment, right here, right now? What have you become? A moment later, now what have you become? What are you identified with? Your body, your gender, your role, your feelings, all these things are what we become identified with, and they're just content arising in the space of the mind. And we become identified with them instead of that pure witness, that pure consciousness that's ever free. It's always free, always present. So it's really the disciplines and the practices that are about shifting our awareness. We don't have to wipe out the mind. Helps to calm it down, quiet it, but really becoming fully aware of the seer who's never seen, the witness who sees all. That's the true nature of your being. So Ashtavakra goes on to say, the self is witness. He's the witness, the all-pervading, perfect one, free, pure consciousness, actionless, unattached, desireless, and quiet. And through illusion appears to be this world. So meditate on the self as immovable consciousness, as non-dual, having given up the external and internal self-modifications, the illusion of I am a reflected self, I am just this little soul. So it's letting go and letting go. You are unattached, actionless, self-effulgent, without any blemish. This indeed is your bondage, that you practice samadhi. Right? It's your bondage that we have become identified with these ephemeral notions and then feel caught by them. When in fact, you pervade this universe, and this universe exists within you. You are really pure consciousness by nature. Do not be small-minded. Think of that. Do not be small-minded, Ashtavakra is saying. In other words, don't consider yourself to be so tiny, so little, so small. Right? Otherwise, we are not really able to experience the fullness of our own being. And so all the practices are aimed at coming back to that. And that, in fact, is what the Heart Sutra is about, coming back to that awareness. There's another great text that comes out of the Advaita Vedanta tradition, and it's called the 6 stanzas on salvation, Nirvana Shatakam. It's another text that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa often refers to, and it was by the great non-dual sage Adi Shankara, Shankaracharya, the great teacher, lived in the 8th century. And this text is not only an exaltation of what we aren't, but also, Shankaracharya had a tantric kind of flavor, an embrace of all of life kind of flavor to him. And so you also see the positive in what he's saying. So in the Nirvana Shatakam, the 6 stanzas on salvation, Shankaracharya says, I am neither the conscious nor the unconscious mind, neither intelligence nor ego, neither the ears nor the tongue nor the sense of smell and sight, neither ether nor air nor fire nor water nor earth. For Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham, Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. Chidananda, I am consciousness and bliss. Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am the auspicious one. I am the infinite. Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. So he's telling us, let go of thinking yourself of all these other things and come home to the awareness. Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. He goes on and says, I am neither the prana nor the 5 vital airs, neither speech nor hands nor feet nor anus nor sex organ. Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am Shiva, I am Shiva, I am consciousness and bliss. Neither aversion nor attachment, neither avarice nor delusion, neither righteousness nor wealth nor pleasure are mine. Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. Chidananda Rupaha Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. You want that running through the mind. Think of all the ways the mind runs through its little awareness. Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I don't like this, I'm caught here, I'm suffering with this, I wish this would stop. Those are all like little mantras birthing a reality of suffering in our own head. We want to push that aside and go, no, Chidananda Rupaha, Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. I am neither virtue nor vice, neither pleasure nor pain, neither mantra nor sacred place, neither the Vedas nor sacrifices. I am neither the food nor the eater nor the act of eating. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. Neither death, nor doubt, nor caste identification, neither father nor mother, not even birth are mine. I am neither brother nor friend, neither guru nor disciple indeed, for Chidananda Rupaha, Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. Come home to that. I am without thought, without form. I am all pervasive. I am everywhere, yet I am beyond all the senses. I am neither detachment nor salvation, nor anything that could be measured. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. Chidananda Rupaha, Shivo'ham, Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. That is the truth of who and what you are. That's what gives us the relief from suffering and gives us the wisdom, the strength, the compassion to bring that into the world and transform a world in the grip of ignorance. Everybody's ignorant of their own self, and we flail about out of that ignorance, causing pain for ourselves and others. We need to bring this wisdom that really sets us free. That's what all the practices are about. So now when we come to look at the Bhagavati Mahaprajna Paramita Hridayam, that's the real name of the Heart Sutra. And Bhagavati is the great goddess. And as we were talking a few weeks ago about the Tara mantra, Tara is also looked at as that mother of all Buddhas. That deep Prajna Paramita is the wisdom mother who gives birth to that state of enlightenment, that state that is our Buddha nature, that state of absolute freedom. And so this text that is so foundational to the Buddhist tradition, you can see it resonates in other non-dual traditions, as in Advaita Vedanta and these Veda kinds of texts. So this awareness permeates so many traditions to know the truth of who and what we are. And in the Heart Sutra, it's really a way of Buddha through Avalokiteshvara sharing that vision. What does it look like to be in this state of deep Prajna Paramita? Prajna Paramita means this non-dual wisdom, this deepest wisdom, this highest wisdom. And then to look, and it's like if you closed your eyes now for a moment, or even if you had them open, and you just notice what fills your awareness. There might be sights, there might be sounds, there might be thoughts arising and subsiding. These are the different aggregates, the 5 aggregates that Buddha talks about in the Heart Sutra. These are the skandhas. These are the things that occupy the inner vision. But from that place of witness consciousness, that place of absolute deep wisdom, you're looking at them and they're not you. They're not yourself. They're nothing. They have no intrinsic existence. And so that's what the Heart Sutra is aiming at. And it's what's often referred to as the via negativa. Matthew Fox would talk about that. The negative way, meaning if you say not this, the part of Vedantan inquiry is also not this, not this. You brush aside everything, and what remains is the truth. And the same in the Heart Sutra, we're saying there's none of these things. You wipe them all away. Not attainment, not enlightenment, not non-enlightenment, nothing. And so all those concepts, all those words, all those things, let them go and let them go. And then come into the spaciousness of simply being. That's where this draws us to. So when we do the Heart Sutra, you'll see we're going to read it together out loud. And so 3 times we go through that. And then at the end, it's the mantra of the Heart Sutra is Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. It means gone, gone, gone beyond, completely beyond. Hail the goer, the Bodhi, Sattva. That means the Buddha nature, the enlightened one. And so mote it be. Swaha. So we'll go through this 3 times. And then when we get to after the 3rd time, Along with the drum, I'll be beating a drum, and we'll be doing the gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhiswaha over and over again. Kind of builds to a crescendo. And then we just rest in the stillness at the end. So here we'll begin. Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, coursing through deep prajna paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore, in emptiness, there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance. To no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering, and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live prajna paramita, and thus attain anuttara samyak sambuddhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, coursing through deep prajna paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance. To no old age and death and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live prajna paramita, and thus attain anuttara samyak sambuddhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore, set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, gate, paragate, parasamgate, bodhi swaha. Avalokiteshvara, Bodhisattva, coursing through deep prajna paramita, clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are marked by emptiness, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without gain, without loss. Therefore in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, thought, impulse, consciousness. No eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind. No color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought. No realm of sight to no realm of thought. No ignorance and also no ending of ignorance. To no old age and death and also no ending of old age and death. No suffering, and also no source of suffering. No annihilation, no path. No wisdom, also no attainment. Having nothing to attain, bodhisattvas live prajna paramita with no hindrance in the mind. No hindrance, thus no fear. Far beyond delusive thinking, they attain complete nirvana. All Buddhas, past, present, and future, live prajna paramita, and thus attain anuttara samyak sambuddhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great mantra, the wisdom mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not deception. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra. Set forth this mantra and say, Gate, gate, paragate, parasam gate, bodhi swaha. 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 Now, just sitting in the stillness. Gone, gone, gone beyond. Gate, gate, paragate, parasam gate, bodhi swaha. Gone, gone, gone beyond. Completely beyond. Hail the goer, you. You've gone beyond the mind. Just by stepping back and watching. Being able to see whatever arises and see it just as so many ephemeral, almost like inner sparks coming and going in that inner sky of awareness. Thoughts and feelings, sounds and sensations, arising and subsiding. But that spacious awareness, the very ground of being, unmoved, untouched by movements of the mind or the body. Unmoved, untouched by whatever arises in that inner sky. And shifting our attention, we can look beyond all of that to see the boundless expanse of awareness itself, that inner witness that watches, that sees without being seen. Unmoved by anything that moves through the mind or the body. You are that stillness. You are that spaciousness of being. Your very nature is suffused with boundless love, boundless compassion, and all-embracing awareness. Rest there. Rest there. If the mind moves, just watch it, detached and at ease, relaxed and aware, just watching whatever moves through the mind. Letting go and letting go. Coming back to the awareness, I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the feelings, I'm not the body. I'm the one who sees it all and remains forever free. Rest there. That's the awareness of Shivo'ham. Shivo'ham. I am the auspicious one. Chidananda Rupaha. Shivo'ham. Shivo'ham. I am consciousness and bliss. I am Shiva. I am Shiva. chant the Tara mantra. Om Tare Tu Tare Tore Soha. Tarama, the feminine face of Buddha. So the Bhagavati, Tarama, she's the great goddess. She's the mother of all Buddhas. Om Tare Tu Tare Tore Soha. Tara, who comes to relieve suffering. Tara, who steps into the world. Om Tare Tu Tare Tore Soha. Your Buddha nature, your nature of boundless compassion, boundless strength, boundless wisdom. Om Tare Tu Tare Tore Soha. 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 And so we end with this prayer that may all our practices truly benefit everyone, and may all beings know complete freedom from suffering. And namaste. So taking refuge in our highest nature, the practices, the non-dual practices from Vedanta, from yoga, from Buddhism, are all about coming home to the truth of who and what we are, so we can walk that into the world. And the Heart Sutra and the Ashtavakra Samhita, the Nirvana Shatakam, these are expressions of that. And so when we read those, study those, let them run through our consciousness, it begins to transform the nature of our own mind so that it's less in the way. The veil is thinner, the veil of thoughts. And so coming back to those practices is a way of empowering ourselves, as in meditation, to then bring that in. And it's interesting to me, the texts like the Heart Sutra and Ashtavakra Samhita, they're like the masculine, the logos. They're kind of abstract, they're stepping back, they're looking at that. And then you have Tara, and you have the divine feminine, who's ready to walk into the world, bring that compassion. It's related, it's connected, that we're all one, and we connect through compassion and love and kindness and understanding. So we invoke that as well and bring that through ourselves and into the world. So the practices are all about both giving us a refuge, giving us a place to get free of the pain and suffering that is often a part of everyday life, but then giving us the strength, the wisdom, the compassion, the vision to see past that and walk that into this world. And that's what we do coming together here this evening. So I want to thank you all for bringing, your divine self, your Buddha nature, your Shiva nature to our gathering this evening, and lending the strength of your practices, your intentions, that it comes together for all of us, and then we bring that into the world. And the more we're doing that, the more we have that kind of impact to transform both our own experience and then the ripple effect, more and more people around us and outside and beyond us. So keep coming back to the truth of who and what you are. And thank you so much for coming here with that kind of intention and bringing the power of practice to this evening. So with all my heart and all my love, I'm grateful for your coming. I'm also grateful for the many ways that everybody has been supporting Anam Cara by sharing our e-newsletter, by letting people know about our YouTube channel, because we've been putting up the weekly satsang video recordings so that people can access them, and people who may never have seen it before can access them. And so that's a way of also being able to share and have people be able to access what our mission is as Anam Cara, to make these freely available to as many people as possible. So thank you for doing that. And thank you also for your donations. We exist solely on those, and we're very, very appreciative for people's generosity. So again, my heartfelt gratitude for everybody's generosity in so many different ways. And then next week will be the start of a new month, and we'll be doing a Dharma talk. And so next Thursday, we'll be back here for that. So again, thank you all for coming. God bless you.